Welcome to Off Watch, a podcast by the Ocean Race. It is 47 years to the day that the Ocean Race started back in 1973 as the Whitbread Round the World race. And that first edition was won by an unlikely crew from Mexico sailing on board Sayula II. I sat down with Enrique Carlín, a crew member on board the boat, but also son of the skipper, Ramón Carlín, who was victorious in that very first edition of the race. He talked me through what it was like to step on board into the unknown of ocean-going, round-the-world racing back when it was very new, and he started by showing me some very impressive silverware. Oh, wow, look at that.
It's a beautiful piece. And here's how many miles and time was there. And here are the name of the first, second, and whatever. Okay. And this is a nice piece, a broken mast with the waves and the albatross. It's beautiful.
Oh, I see. I didn't realize it was. Yeah, I didn't. Now you say a broken mast, I can see it. Yeah.
Broken mast, the sea waves, and the albatross.
Oh, nice.
Flying on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful pieces.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you obviously look after them very well because they're looking brand new.
That's right. Yeah, my father and mother used to have them polished and, put some gold plated or silver plated, whatever it is. But they're in good shape. Yeah, it's worth to have that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I very often with sailing trophies, you have, you get to hold it up in front of the camera, then they take it back. They put it in the museum, they put it in the yacht club. Right. It's nice to see that you have yours at home.
Yeah, well, I was planning for next time, I think for the beginning of the race, I want to take Sayula down to Alicante. I'm doing the plans now, and so it can be at the start of the race, at like a buoy. I hope nobody hits us, but I have there. And I would like to have it also whenever they come back to Geneva, or Genoa, sorry. Genoa, yeah. So maybe that'll sound good for Mr. Bryce's. I hope that sounds good.
Oh, look, it sounds good to me, and I'm sure it sounds good to everybody. So, Sayula, this is the same boat that 47 years ago you started the very first race. I mean, how often do you get to go sailing in it? I mean, has it kept alive all this time?
Well, my father kept sailing for a long, long time, and he invited mostly the family and some friends. And the last time he got on the boat was down here in Puerto Vallarta. He kept it in Acapulco, and after that in Puerto Vallarta. But it's in good shape. It's very, very nice, kept on. And we love to have it in the family. I tell people that I'm still romantic with the Sayula, because whenever I get practical, I'll sell it. It's just,
does it still win races? Do you get a chance to race it?
No, not anymore. No, since we had the Round the World race, and then after that, my father said, let's not race anymore. The last race we did was on the bicentennial of the United States in '76. We raced from Bermuda to Newport, Rhode Island, and we won first in line. So that's it. No more races. So we've been cruising, and I cruise every winter because down here it's warm. So I would go in winter all into the Sea of Cortez, and we go all the way in the Mexican Pacific mostly.
Okay, so let me wind the clock back again, because it's an amazing story, and it's an amazing achievement to be the first at anything, the first winner. It's wonderful. But I think that your victory is even more incredible because back then, the impression that I get was your father really wanted to win, but he didn't have a boat when he decided to do the race. He didn't have a crew. What was the first moment when you thought, okay, let's do this?
Well, I explained it. We went down to I was going down to Ireland to study because I wanted to get married, and he just pulled me out, okay, of the way. So he invited me down to Ireland to study English, and after that, in London, he found the brochure for the Whitbread Round the World race. So he kept the brochure like that, and he asked me, "Well, would you like to go?" Of course, let's go. So here he is with no boat, no crew, only he and me. That was all. And so he decided at that time, and it was fantastic. When he makes decision, he's very determined, and so he's like that. He's been like that for all his life, in business, in sports, in anything. Okay, so that's when we got down to London. And after that, he went down to find out about the boat. So he went down to CNC. He went down with some friends to look after some boats. And he found the boat he wanted, but in 48 foot. So he went to Pekka Koskenkila down in Outer, and he talked with him, and he said, "Well, Ramon, I have the boat you want, it's okay. But I have a new boat, a 65-footer, that it's going to be completely different. The crew is going to be about the same. The dinner will be, well, the meals and everything will be about the same. So you need more play. So why don't you buy a bigger boat and you'll be more comfortable?" So he went, "Oh, no, it doesn't sound bad. Okay, yeah, let's go." So Sayula, it's the number 3 hole. And Pekka told Ramon, I won't have the boat for you because number 3 is already sold. They have to give me the payment, so the first payment, so they can have the boat. And I don't know how, but he was so lucky, and he got the number 3 hole. So he got the 3 hole, and he got into the race. But yeah, he wasn't. He didn't have any boat or nothing when he signed and give the money for the entrance.
On one level, it's so different from the experience of the professional sailors today. But at the same time, it's very similar. You have somebody who decides, I must do this race. I want to win. I want to do it. Then you find the money, you find the boat, you find the crew. Considering that you were the first person to join the crew, if you like, I don't know how much choice you had as part of the family. How much when did you think maybe we could win? Or was it always a surprise?
Well, at first he would say always, if you enter a competition, you go to win. And I think that's a good thought, because you always go to a competition to win. But I think at that time, we were a very diverse, crew. There were experienced guys, and there were guys with no experience. So I don't know, but you didn't know really what was going to happen. The first thought is let's finish the race. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the first thing. And when we got down to Cape Town, we were in second place. So that's where Ramon said, hey, this is good. This is real good, and we can win this. So that's why we went we followed the race. And well, the next leg was terrible. Waves very big, winds very frightening. It was terrible. But I think the first thing was, let's finish the race. I think that was the best thing.
I'm wondering how close you were to not finishing the race, because like you say, it's so hard. It was hard back in 73 and it's hard today. If you had finished that first leg and you hadn't found out that you were in second, you weren't doing that well. If the second leg was so hard, I mean, would you have said, okay, we have to pull away? How close were you to not finishing?
Well, my father, I think, wasn't going to go out to leave the race. Of course, I was going to leave the race in Cape Town because, well, I was too young and I was maybe a spoiled guy. and I said, well, Father, I don't want to go on with this race. And he said, well, it's okay, but whatever you begin, you must finish, for you and for Mexico. So let's go on. You have to go on, but it's your decision. So I made the decision and I went on. But of course, I think my father didn't think of leaving the race until after this next leg. The next leg, we capsized with a wave of 40-footer wave. And so it was tremendous. But after that leg, I think everybody would think this is crazy. I don't know. It's just incredible. But we were in first place. So there's no way to luck you but to have a first place on the hand and say, well, I'm leaving. No, you're not leaving. You keep on, and we kept on.
When you're out at sea, one of the things that is different from the early editions and now the sailors know roughly where they are in the race, or at least they know every 6 hours. But when you did the race, you would start the leg and you wouldn't know the result until the finish.
Almost, yeah. Well, if they don't lie to you on the radio, you would know that. But mostly in the first leg, we didn't have contact with everybody each time. But in the second leg, we began to have contact with everybody because there were 2 men lost in the second leg and 1 on the third. And I think it got very rough. So I think that's why we kept together very closely by radio. Well, but you can lie for 1 mile maybe, but you cannot lie for 100 miles. Yeah, it's no way to lie.
And I mean, you say you could keep in touch with radio, but correct me if I'm wrong, your radio broke, I think, after the capsize that you were mentioning. So there was a period where you couldn't get in touch with anybody, and the race organizers, I mean, hadn't heard from you for some time.
Yeah, I think it was for about 1 week or something like that. Well, here is my chart. We were near to Perth, and that's when we capsized, and then we have to go into the channel. And when we got into the channel, Ray Conradi, our navigator, got in touch with the lantern with the merchant ship. So he told the merchant ship to say that we were Sayula II and that we were all right and we were coming to Sydney. That was incredible. I think one of the main tactics is to have a navigator, a good navigator, because he can show. At that time, you didn't have all the new things you have now. But at that time, he would go into BBC and would have the points where the cold front was coming. So he would do that, and we would follow the cold fronts. So it was, I think, one of the basic tactics we had.
And what did you see? I mean, you mentioned the navigator. What else did you see at? I think you were 18 when you did the race. Did you realize that the navigator was that good then, or did it take you some time? I think this was Ray, the navigator. Did you know at 18 this guy's good, or was it all just new?
No, yes, I think he was good because he would have a chat with Ramon every often, and I think they were looking at the strategic to do the right thing on the right time. I think they both did a good job. They had good communications, and we had a good job because we learned, the ones that didn't have so much hours on sailing, we learned a lot, and well, I think we did a good job, of course.
Describe your father to me, because the biggest thing that people always talk about with any team is the skipper and how they manage the crew, get people working hard, get people feeling good. What kind of skipper was your father?
Well, he was very determined, as I tell you, and he would have order always on the boat. He liked it very much to have order, because when we capsize, where's the pump? So you have to find the pump. So that's order, and I think he loved that. And I think one of the most beautiful things he had was he was a loving captain. He was very loving. He will care of us. He will give us some wine every day just to be relaxed, not drunk, but relaxed. Nice warm meals, and you don't get that now. But even that, you have good leaders now that can bring. Without that, they can bring things. Okay. But he was loving. He was very, very nice and loving father. We tell him that he was like a hen with his chicks. Okay, he was always like this, and he will care about people. I think that's the most leading thing you can have. And what you learn on the boat is to go with people, to learn of people, and to be kind with people. Okay, I think that's tremendous. But he was a great leader. As I told you, not only sailing, he put a ranch, and he was very good on the ranch, cheap ranch. He had the business since 1950, and he was good in his business. He was a leader of the family. And in anything he did, he was a great leader.
It's interesting that you say that. I've read interviews with other people on the boat, and they all say the same thing, that there was a atmosphere where it was not luxurious, it was hard, but there was a little bit of comfort, maybe the wine, maybe the food. But how well did you eat on the boat?
Oh, we ate every day. We had meat. Every day we had a good salad, with coleslaw or whatever. But we always have something. At that time, things were canned, so it was very difficult to have nice things dried or whatever. But we have canned things, and we had beans, and we have everything. So we had a warm meal every day, spaghetti and this. When we capsized, we found spaghetti inside the radios, and jam also. So but we had fantastic lunch and fantastic dinners. A little bit of wine. We have the magic table, where there's a table for the meals, And below that, there's a small thing you put the wines in, the wines. So every time you would say, kid, give me a bottle. So that's a magic table. You take out wine every time you want it. That was incredible.
When a lot of people, when they look back at their experience in the race, even today, there are some things, normally the bad things, that fade away. And, it's the good memories, they're the ones you remember. I haven't had the opportunity of asking somebody like yourself, who has such a long time between when they did the race and today. What is it that if you go down onto Sayula now, what do you remember? What's the clearest memory of being there on the waves racing?
Ooh. Well, it's a nice remembrance. When you're at the sea, you don't feel it like it because you're every day on that. And so it's very monotonous. So it's very difficult to think many things since when you're sailing because you're bored or you're tired or whatever, because the watches goes on. But when you're after that and after you do the race, when you finish the race, you say, well, what's next? Let's do race again, because you're hot, warm, you want to go on. But after a while, you say, well, I did that, and I'm glad. I'm glad also that we won the race, of course. But it's a very nice living, opportunity that you have to learn about, to love the ocean, to go without any engine. That's tremendous. That's something that you cannot change for nothing. It's just tremendous.
And what about the victory then? Because every sailor in the race will experience that. But for the victory, when you sailed back across you completed the final leg, sailed across the finish line, you have won the race, the first Whitbread round the world race. What happened then in the next few days? Obviously, it's big for you, it's big for your family, it's big for Mexico.
Yeah, well, you finish the race, you don't believe it, you have to pinch me so I can believe what's going on with this, because you get very nice and you're in the clouds and you feel incredible. I think that's one of the things you cannot say to somebody how you feel. It's just enormous. It's great, and after a while you go into the trophies when they give you the trophies and all that, and you feel incredible. It's just maybe you get drunk for a while because you don't know what was going on and you like it. But it's you're in the clouds. I think you're in the clouds. It's enormous feeling. Very nice feeling.
There's a Team Mexico that wants to do the next edition of the race.
Yeah, Viva Mexico.
Yeah. Now, how much would it mean to you to have Sayula there at the start line for the next edition, if you can make it happen, and to see a Mexican team in the race racing hard?
Okay, well, we already talk about it down here, but we gave them the kick. We gave them the kick down in Puerto Vallarta. So we already have kicked them for the race, wishing them good luck and good race and favorable winds. But I think it's a must that I have to do an effort to bring the boat down to the start line and to the finish line. I think that's a must. And I wish, well, somebody that it's hearing me say, well, yeah, that's how it has to be. It's still in the family, and it's still Sayula, and it's still the first winner. So it has to be there. As I told Ramon, my father, when they made the dinner in Alicante in the 2011, he didn't want to go. He was old already. And I say, Ramon, I take you, but you have to be there because you are the winner of everything. So you have to be there for, of course. And I think that's a must that Sayula may have to be down there, and we have to bring her. It's only 40 days, so no problem.
Yeah, it's nothing after what you've done.
Take off
It's
time.
nothing.
Yeah. Well, I can take up some time from work. Well, I'm retired, but I work a little bit. But, you know, I think it's a must. And one of the best things, I think, it would be nice if some of the crew members can come and sail down in the Med and join us to have the start line and then join us to have the finish line. I think that'll be great. Only my father is, well, my father and my mother are passed away, but all the others they're okay. So maybe they might come. Okay.
If they don't, after we release this, I'm sure you will get a lot of people offering the chance to be crew, because like you say, it's the boat, it's the victory, the very, very, very first. So you've been very kind with your time, and before I let you go, I want to get another look at the trophy for the overall. So do you mind just bringing it again? So this was
Here it is.
This is the first ocean race trophy, what was the Whitbread Round the World race. Has this always been in your possession?
Yeah, of my father on his house. He kept it on his house at Mexico City. I live now in Monterrey on the north. Okay, and this is beautiful. Look at this.
Oh, it spins.
Yeah.
I'm getting a good view of it, but can you describe it? How is it?
Well,
what's the design?
There are three spinnakers, two here, one here, and the globe is here. Okay, with the silver plated and gold plated, and down at the Pacific Ocean, that is the biggest one, it says all the names of whoever was on the race, all the boats. Okay, down here. And down here it says how many miles and everything it had.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if you can see that, but
just about, difficult.
Yeah. And this one, I would like to take it down and lend it for the museum in Alicante. Also, this one, and also this one. This is the Roaring 40s first place. That's it, first and second leg. No, second and third leg.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Okay. It's a beautiful piece.
It really is. I mean, they're beautiful pieces of art. They look fantastic.
They are beautiful, of course.
One of the things you just mentioned, you said that on the trophy you have the names of the skippers, the other boats, the other competitors. I wonder.
Just the name of the boat.
Just the name of the boat.
Sayula, Adventure, Grand Louis, Criter, Wea, Great Britain Second Life, CSNRB, British Soldier, Tauranga, Copernicus, Tranto Export, Otago, Peter von Dancing, who else? Burton Cotter. That I've seen Burton Cotter come into Mexico.
Really?
With another name, yeah.
Yeah.
A friend of mine is bringing it down to Acapulco. Penduic 6.
Oh, wow.
Penduic 3, Concord, and Jacaranda. So there were a lot of boats in there.
A lot of boats, but also some really big names. You mentioned Penduik, so Eric Teberle and
Eric Carlín.
you've got some big names in the race. And I wonder, what was the atmosphere like? Because, of course, even back then, you are competing against each other, but you're also going out to do something that's dangerous. And you have to rely on each other. What was the atmosphere like between the teams?
Well, between the teams, at the beginning, they would look at us very strange. They would hoax at us, saying, well, you Mexicans, what are you doing? Are you going around the winches or what? But after that, well, it's okay. But after that, we found that we were in better place than others. And but after that, in the first stop, the second, and all of the others, we will be okay with everybody. I think that's what I told you. You learn to live with people and to be very nicely with them, because there's no other way to be. You have to be kind with people. You cannot be fighting every day. You cannot do walls in between countries, as this nice president we have on the north. And it's just incredible. But I would take off all the border lines in the world and just go wherever you like to go, and don't ask any permission. Just say, I'm here. But that's not going to happen.
I really, really look forward to seeing Sayula in Alicante for the start of the race. And I'm sure that everybody watching this, if they haven't realized already, will know that how important that boat is, how important your story is, and how important your father has been to the race. You've been really kind, making the time to talk to me. Thank you very much. And I really hope I'm going to get to see those trophies for real in the museum very soon. That would be a big treat.
Oh, I'm very glad to hear about you and to have this interview. And I'm pleased that all this was because of my father. Well, and all his crew, of course. But he was an enormous guy. And thank you very much anyway.